close that here. Here we have some Outlook. This is in our demo environment. And I personally like to have Outlook open. I always want my mail open and I always want my calendar open. And a lot of people are like, multiple screens. So you can actually right click in Outlook and say open in a new window. And so you can open multiple instances of Outlook, which can be really helpful to, let's say, put this on one screen, put this on another. When I'm composing an email, you do have that pop out button up here on the right. But a trick that we talked about actually in last meeting is a paste as plain text. So if I were on a website, I think we went to TechCrunch last time. So here's some stuff, and let's say I wanted to grab, these article titles, and I can copy that. And then I'm going to go back into my Outlook email. So if I just paste that, that's really weird. And I just wanted to get those article titles in there. So when you're in Outlook, if you need to just get the text out of something, you don't want the weird formatting, you can right click and say paste as plain text, which will give you just that text plain right in there. So I see a lot of times where people pasted something in, some text to copy paste off a web screen or a Air or something like that. And this can be really helpful to make that much more readable to the people that you're sending it to. You also, the keyboard shortcut for that is Control-Shift-V. Paste is Control-V, this is Control-Shift-V for this keyboard shortcut. All right, let's talk about this calendar. So I mentioned I use my calendar all the time. This is actually the demo calendar, not mine. Wish my calendar was this light, if only. Something that is in only new Outlook and Teams calendar is there's now a filter. So in my filters up here, I have a couple different options of things that I can turn on and off. And let's say I wanted to see only my meetings where in-person was requested. I can flip that and I can see this is the one meeting where it was somebody checked the box basically that said they want this to be in person. Which if I drill into the meeting, you can see this right here. So turning this on says I want this to be an in-person event. So this filter in the top lets me kind of dial that down. There you can filter by some categories. You can filter by when things that are free, tentative, busy. So maybe I just want to see the stuff that I've fully committed to. I can turn off some of those other ones, or I just want to see what's tentative. You can see that. So this filter can be pretty helpful. Sometimes it's not just about the filter. It's when was I going to meet with this person? My calendar is a little nuts and it drives me crazy to find it. But something that I have just recently started to utilize, but I utilize it a lot, is the search actually works awesome for the calendar, at least in new Outlook. So if I go to this search and I look for my Tailspin project discussion, let's say I knew that I'm meeting with Tailspin. When was that? I can type this in and it's going to search my calendar. And actually, I don't know if you caught that. It was kind of filtering my calendar before I even pressed enter, which I will go back and show you again. But here you can see that we have all my Tailspin meetings right here, easy for me to find. And if I go back again, this search, and I've actually never noticed it do this before. This might be brand new. As I just typed in tail, it was filtering the meetings in my calendar. So very handy when you have a busy calendar. Okay, so going back to our mail for a minute. I feel like we've all been in those moments where we get that email and it's really hard to see what it is because it's in dark mode. And I'm sure all of you are using dark mode because Microsoft seems to think that's the most important thing ever. And I kind of do too, if I'm being honest. But sometimes you're looking at an email and you're I can't read this because it's in dark mode. It doesn't happen often, but it's really annoying when it does. You're copy pasting and you have to turn your whole thing to light, whatever it is. There's this little button that says view this with a light background. So right in the email, you can actually press this button and view it in the normal way. This, I It's actually literally happened to me yesterday. Somebody copy pasted a table out of Excel of a bunch of usernames, and it was all blacked out in what I could see. And I just pressed this little button, and it was a handy, convenient trip. Okay.